Okay, hi everyone. I know it was a long day, and I see a lot of people here, but let's start it. So today I would like to tell you about 10 tricks for free-to-play growth and monetization. The, let's say, idea for this presentation comes during my 3 years work at 10 Square Games. And after I leave the company, I realized that most of these ideas weren't presented on any conferences or or any blogs. So it's knowledge that let's say everyone in the industry maybe know that, but no one would like to share it. Okay. Okay. So for who is this presentation? So it's for everyone who is interested in free-to-play. For companies that would like to join to these markets, for individuals that are just starting in game development, you don't need to have any previous knowledge to make these ideas happen. And also, most of them are or could be done with really small teams, sometimes with one person, without any let's say requirements in terms of cash or resources. I will be focusing on user acquisition and monetization mostly, but also I will tell a little bit about the tools or services or places where you could find more information about that. And by who? By me. So right now I'm head of growth and co-founder at Shu. And Shu is right now screenshotting software for gamers, so you could capture the screenshot from any game with just one click. And within 3 weeks, we also will be launching the video feature, so you'll be able to record last 30 seconds of your gameplay and share with friends just with one button. And why I'm doing that? I'm doing that mainly because I would like to help developers to succeed in this industry. And also because they could succeed, I hope that the user base of our software also will grow, because we are focusing on gamers of all sorts, so starting from casual one to AAA titles also. So let's start with, let's say, Big Bang. Go web, not mobile. Right now on the market, on the App Store market and Google Play, there are a lot of new applications uploaded each day. There are thousands of them, and it's very hard to find a place there. So if you're doing a game that is similar to any other game that is currently on the market, it's very hard to you to differentiate your product and to find space for yourself. So I think you need to answer these 5 questions. So first of all, is your game really better than other games? If you think that you are doing next Clash of Clans clone and it will be very easy to market and will get a succeed, it will be very hard for you. Also, do you have good analytical team that could first of all gather the data, then analyze that, and then later on also act accordingly on this data? Because having the data is one thing, and then making decisions based on this data is another one. It was, let's say, competitive advantage about 2 years ago just to make or to work with data and adjust your game accordingly. But right now it is also mostly must-have just to operate on this market. Third one, do you have enough cash and resources to promote your game? As you probably know, right now on mobile, you could pay up to $10 per installation on tier 1 markets. And you need massive amount of installations if you're launching the free-to-play game, just to have, let's say, the economy correctly. Big players like King or Supercell are spending something like $5 million per day. So they're buying all the inventory, rising the cost of installation. So without really deep pockets, it's very hard to get the critical mass of the users, so you will get even. Next, do you have a big enough cross-promotion network? Eric Seufert from Rovio right now, about 2 years ago, told that we are all fucked up because the big players are buying all the inventory, so you are almost unable to promote your game. And last year during the GDC Europe, he told that even if you have enough cash to promote your game, it will be very hard for you because Supercell, King, and all of these big players have such a big user base that it's almost, or they could, let's say, rely on their own cross-promotion network to promote the title. So they could, at the one hand, put a lot of millions on the market to promote or to get the installation, but also they could follow this up by cross-promoting between their titles. And last, which let's say has not the biggest impact, but it's also quite important, is do you have valuable contacts in app stores, media, streamers, YouTubers, and so on. It's very good to get featured by Apple, for example, but it wouldn't be a game changer for you probably. You get a few thousand of installs or a few 100,000 of installs, but it will help your economy, but it wouldn't probably change it. So why it's good to move or to stay on the website of this business? Mostly because right now on the web you have much fewer competition. All of big players move to mobile, move to Steam, for example, also. So the space on website of this business is much bigger, and it's much easier for new companies to get the traffic there, to get new partners, and to get the promotions. Also, you have big B2B demand for new titles. Platforms like, for example, Facebook or content portals still are looking for web games, because even if mobile is growing rapidly all the time, then let's say their core business is still on web, and web games for example, horizontal portals are one of the best source of traffic and also in revenue. Also, you have scalable user acquisition without upfront payment. So you are able to get a lot of users without paying anything. You will pay later when your users start paying. And of course, you have more options. You have bigger screen, keyboard, mouse, and with current engines like Unity or Unreal, the games that are done for web are quite similar to normal titles that you could buy from the box or install from Steam. So in terms of this scalable user acquisition, so the model that works very well on web is called revenue share. So you are sharing part of your in-game revenue after it's generated with your partner. So for example, your partner provides you with traffic, and then after this user starts paying, you're let's say sharing part of the revenue that they generated. It's very good because you don't have to pay anything up front. So you could start advertising your game, and then the payments come later on. But it's more expensive, especially if you have good game and the user stays with you for longer time. So then finally you probably pay more than doing just normal CPL campaign. The share on web depends, let's say, on the partner with which you are working. And in most cases, it varies between 30 to 60% of net revenue. And just remember that net revenue, it's not the revenue that let's say, the users are paying you. It's revenue after some deduction, for example, taxes, payments, providers, fees, and so on. And if you would like to work with partners on web, on net revenue or on revenue share, then mainly they are in, let's say, two baskets. So first of all, there are platforms with ecosystem or APIs. So mainly social networks, Facebook, Encave, Contacte. They let's say take care of everything of login, on payments, or some kind of analytics, and you just need to provide the game. And also gaming portals that works similar. They have some APIs, and they are focused on games. The biggest one are, for example, Spiel, Kongregate, or Dogre, or GameKit. And the second, let's say, basket is partners just with traffic. So partners that could provide you a traffic based on different models, one of which is revenue share. But in this case, you need to take care of everything, of landing page, on registration, let's say, flow, on tracking, on payments. So in most cases, you will have the game under your own domain and just some tracking links to your partner. And the biggest one are, first of all, horizontal portals. So in Poland, for example, Onet Wirtualna Polska, in Germany, Web.de. They love, let's say, free-to-play games because, first of all, they are earning revenue based on revenue share. Then also they could add some additional advertisements around your game, so it's the second channel of revenue for them. And also players that spend time in this kind of games looks very good in all these, let's say, panels or external analytic tools like Megapanel, and they just rise their rankings with bigger publishers, for example. And the second one are TV stations, but TV stations mostly in Germany, because in Germany it's very common to advertise your game in TV. So people know this kind of advertisement, and stations also are used to that. So if you have a very good game, then there is a chance that you will get promotion based on revenue sharing TV. If you are a new developer or your titles or your partner isn't sure about your titles, then they probably will ask you about some minimum guarantee. So you will, let's say, pay the part of the revenue that you say that you were generated for them upfront, and then you recuperated all the costs. So how to get this kind of partners, or how to get the contacts for them? So first of all, events. Events are very good in terms of ROI because you're just spending one or 2 days networking, meeting people. And my, let's say, own ranking will be Digital Dragons. First of all, because it's very good in terms of networking, and also the cheapest one for these 4. Secondly, Gamescom business area. Gamescom, as you probably know, it's the biggest trade fair open for public people, or for publicity. But also you could get access to business area where you could find everyone, starting from Nintendo, Sony, PlayStation, Sony or Microsoft, ending on some small publishers, partners, and television. Third one, Casual Connect Amsterdam, also a conference that is focused on casual games, mostly free-to-play on mobile and web. And last, GDC Europe, it's quite expensive. It's just before the Gamescom, so if you could choose, or your budget isn't, let's say, high, you could go just to Gamescom and forget about GDC. Second one, if you would like to stay just in your office and wouldn't move anywhere, it's LinkedIn. The best approach to that is first of all to create a professional-looking profile with all the information about you, about your company, and just search for people from companies that would like to contact. The company name plus partnership, business development, or publishing. You could do this for free just by doing some special Google search queries, or just buy the premium account. But if you, for example, would like to focus on the product, or you don't feel comfortable in doing this, let's say, business side of the of your company, you could outsource this. You can find and hire freelancers, for example. There are a lot of people that are still in game dev business. They are doing this before, or they are just working for a few companies as freelancers. So that's, let's say, one source of this let's say, highest freelancers. And the second one, companies. There are a lot of companies on the market that focus or works as your external business development team. For example, in Germany, Austria, Switzerland region, there is Freigeist Entertainment with which I was working. And these guys could just generate you a lot of traffic on very good deals, let's say. And last place to find people or partners that could generate you a lot of users is gaminginsiders.com. It's a mailing group for gaming professionals where you could sign up for let's say, different mailing lists and then just ask people about the help. And in most cases, they will help you because they just like to help people. Okay, so right now, if we have the contact to these people, we need to decide at where we would like to promote our game. And there are different markets where you could start. Some of them are, let's say, counterintuitive. Some are better or not. But let's say markets that works very well for me were, first of all, Poland, because there are a lot of partners on revenue share. Also, we have still NK, which is a social network right now focusing on games, which always could, let's say, generate you a lot of traffic from the catalog. Then Germany, Austria, Switzerland, also a lot of partners on revenue share could be found there. Cheap TV, very good payment systems, and they pay very well. Third, Russia. Russia is good and bad. It's good in terms of user acquisition, because you could acquire very cheap users there if you pay, or you could get a lot of free traffic from their social networks. So mainly from Kontakte, Mój Mir, and Odnoklasniki. But in terms of monetization, especially that right now the ruble is worth almost nothing. So you mainly wouldn't be able to pull money back with some good margin. Next, France, Italy. They're very good, especially on Facebook, if you do some small Facebook advertising, because they're quite cheap and paying very well. Brazil, Turkey, rising countries, let's say, with very big, that will probably rise very big in the close future. You could acquire really cheap users there. For example, invest $500 and then get a few thousand users that then by virality will rise to over 1 million. And Nordic countries, especially if you don't like to or don't have resources to make any translations. So you could launch a game in English there. They are paying very well, but they are very hard to acquire. And in terms of bad countries, so first of all, Canada. Canada, I think, starting from the beginning of free-to-play games, was soft launch country, so the country where everyone were testing their games. Right now, a lot of developers moved to other markets, but still, the costs of acquiring users there are really, really high. Then Asia, mainly Japan, Korea, and China. It's very hard for European developer to make a good game for this region, because we are totally different in terms of culture, and even these countries they have a lot of differences between each other, and also with some of them you have very strict or special regulation in terms of, for example, running business there, or even of game features that appear in game. For example, in Japan you have special law in terms of the let's say gacha system in game, and also we are prohibited to do anything which is connected with atomic energy, starting from some reactor plants to nuclear missiles. And US. US is hard. It's the biggest market for everyone, but also it's very hard in terms of user acquisition because it's expensive. And even if most of us think that US is very similar in terms of culture to us, it's quite different, because they like more exciting games where they think that they are rock stars. So if you have, let's say, calm game or game that doesn't have any, I don't know, explosions, then it could be very hard for you to promote your game there. Now let's briefly just marketing assets, what should be on them. So in terms of banners, there are three, let's say, main features. So you will need to have a button with call to action. You will need to have your logo and some part of the banner that catch someone's eyes. Of course, you could make banners with some gears and so on. They will have higher CTR, but then after, let's say, the users move to your landing page, the conversion rate will be very low. So the banners should be connected with the game. And landing pages. So landing pages also, they need to be quite simple. They need to have logo, quite short and easy to fill form, button with call to action, and login with Facebook, which is quite common, and users love to use this. Okay, so if you, for example, start your game, you make a few partnerships, you generated some revenue, you could also think about the paid marketing, which is, let's say, quite limited for companies that don't have a lot of cash to invest in. I think the rule should be that you need to invest at least $1,000 per market, per channel to have some results. Without that, you will have you wouldn't have enough installations that to validate your data, to validate your game, your creatives, and so on. And a lot of, let's say, systems or channels doesn't allow you to do so. They start speaking with you, for example, if you have $10,000 or more. But two very good platforms, self-service platforms, are first of all Facebook ads. That is very good for all the Facebook games. They have really good targeting. They have a lot of options to customize your creatives. Second one, AdWords, so the platform from Google, also self-service but very easy to operate on. You could promote your trailer on YouTube, for example. You could put your banners to Google Display Network, and the best, I think, idea is just to make some search ads. But search ads for web games works mostly on the branding keywords, so keywords that are connected with your game. If you think, for example, that you would like to promote your game on your competitor title, then it probably wouldn't work. It's just how the whole AdWords system is built on. So it has very, let's say, limited. It's limited just to your branding, but it works very well in terms of the CPL, for example. The next one are CPI networks, so networks that works or take care of everything. You just pay them, you tell what you would like to do, and they are telling you, for example, okay, we'll get you installation in Germany for €3 per installation, or for some engagement within the game, for example, reaching level 3. They're expensive, they have low volume, but they have very good quality because they didn't, let's say, force users in any way to check your game. And for example, some of these networks are Add2Games, IQ, and if you ask anywhere that you would like to get a traffic, at least 10 sales representatives will answer you. And the special, let's say, part or special deal in CPI networks are incentivized traffic. Incentivized traffic is a traffic from other games that is sent to your game. So for example, someone is playing Candy Crush Saga, he doesn't have any more moves, so he gets a pop-up to pay €2 or to, for example, install your game, reach level 5, and then he will get these moves for free. So this kind of traffic is very cheap in terms, it's just very cheap. You pay like 15–20 cents per install. It's very low quality and it's in very high volume. So it all depends what you need to your game. There are some games or some game genders that, for example, need a lot of users that don't pay, but they're just in the game, and some that are just focusing on the quality of the users. And the companies that, for example, are doing that are TrialPay, Supersonic, Nuts Media, and really a lot more. Okay, so let's now move to the monetization side. So there are a few tricks that could raise your revenue quite slightly just by doing some small changes to your, I don't know, XML model or to your pricing. So first one is country price adjustments. So you are setting the prices of your in-game items based on the country wealth. So for example, people in Germany pay more, people in Russia pay less. You can calculate this based on some rankings, on GBP, on Big Mac Index, and so on, or just make some research and find what's the best one. You need to test this, you need to do A/B testing long term. Because if you change the price, then there will be some moves just after you change it. And you need to take into consideration that these changes could be just short term. So you need to check this long term. And this kind of changes could raise your revenue by 30% long term. And it really works. The second one is in-game promotions, so promotions like in e-commerce, in normal shops and so on. All of them works, but you need to take care of all aspects, let's say. So first of all, there are promotions for hard currency. You could say sell more for the same price, or sell the same package, let's say, for less. The same with in-game gear. You also could make a flash sale, so sales that are very good for the user, but works just for a few minutes, for example, a few hours. And there is a first purchase bonus, so bonus for new users that you acquire. That's focused not on, let's say, monetization, but more on retention. So you are forcing the users to pay something in your game that you even know that you will lose on that. But after users spend some money in your game, then probably will stay for more because he already invested and wouldn't like to lose this money. And you need to remember about few things with these monetization ideas. So first of all, don't break your economy. If you make a lot of promotions, then there could be a situation when users just stocked up with all the hard currency or items, and then they wouldn't buy anything for a longer period of time. You need to take care holds after the promotions, because after you, or if you do a promotion, then you could have 10 times more revenue in this particular day, but then for the rest of the week you could have minus 50, minus 70% of revenue. Always A/B test this from two reasons. So first of all, you could make a promotion or the price adjustments that leads to that probably you could lose some part of the revenue, but also you could get more, but maybe you could get much more than that. And have a plans for fuck-ups, because it's very easy to change a price, to make a promotion. In most cases you wouldn't, let's say, pass this through your QA, and then you could have a lot of problems, for example, setting the promotion that all items are sold for one hard currency, and then you need to know what to do later on, and in most cases there is no good solution. Okay, so now a little bit about the analytics. Even if you don't consider using analytics right now, it's very good to have this in place, or just to gather the data from the day one after you launch the game. Because later on, if you speak with some partners, with publishers, with investors, they will require you to show some data. And let's say the basic data that you should gather from the beginning should be, first of all, divided by traffic sources, so you should know from where this user comes from, and by cohorts, so by days. And if you have all these key metrics like registration, retention, revenue, daily active users, monthly average users, or some metrics that show engagement within your game, which are game specific, then based on these numbers you could build everything. You could buy any, let's say, KPI or data that you need. The KPI that will be probably most important for you is lifetime value of the users. It shows in the long term how much the average user is worth to you. So having this data, you could tell to your partner that, okay, our average user is spending $2 in the 12-month period, or I could pay €1.5 for installation for user that is generating €2 for me. And this could be calculated in some SaaS software or systems that you could buy, or you could just make this in some spreadsheet using the retention and revenue data. Another thing about that is it's golden cohort. It's cohort of your first users. So in most cases, if some users join your game or sign up for your game, then the users from the first period are the best one. They could stay with you almost forever till you operate the game, and then they could generate a lot of revenue for you. For example, I work on the projects where users after 2 years after the registration, they still generate between 10 and 20% of revenue each week. And more information about that could be found on Mobile Dev Memo. It's a blog from Eric Seufert. There are some frameworks and ideas. It's mostly for mobile games, but all of these ideas could be also used, or most of them could be used for web games. And Freemium Economics, it's also a book by Eric Seufert. It's quite big, about 300 pages. So if you have a lot of time, you could check it. More resources. In terms of knowledge, so first of all, GDC Vault. It's half open, half closed database of all the speeches on GDC for last, I think, 15 years or something like that. So you could find speeches on all topics there. Mobile Dev Memo, so mostly about marketing and analytics, and the Gaming Insiders mailing group. In terms of tracking, if you would like to track your game or have some tracking clicks, track your performance marketing or traffic that you're getting for partner, there is a software called Offers. It's not the cheapest one, but it's one of the best that I was using. It costs something like $300 per month. In terms of payments, if you operate your game under your own domain, you could, on the one way, you could integrate all the payment providers on your own, or you could use some aggregator, let's say. I was using Payment Wall because they are focusing on gaming. They have a lot of features that could be just used without any code. So, for example, these country price adjustments, all kinds of the promotions. And they have all the payment channels that are available all over the globe. So starting from mobile, from some Swift money transfers, all of them, including even post. You could just print the, let's say, ticket, go to your post office and pay. In terms of analytics, so these are the two free tools. So first of all, Google Analytics. It's quite powerful if you use this with custom events and also custom dimensions. So you could have almost everything there. And Delta DNA. I wasn't using them, but I know that they have some quite affordable packages also for indie developers. Or you could just let's say, build your own SQL database and push all the events there, and then pull this with SQL queries. And remember that if you can, just use software that it's already on the market. For example, you could think that Hess offers 300 euro per month is a lot, but if you are starting to writing your own software to do all the tracking, then it will be more expensive for you, and it wouldn't be so flexible. Okay, so that's mainly everything. The future probably will be VR, so virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. This year, I think, will be the breakthrough because all the major headsets will be launched to the public. Also, other industries that in the past, let's say, promote the technological advantage, focus on that. Yeah, so if you would like to be on a top, let's say, and do something innovative, you should start working or thinking about this right now. I think right now it's the last moment to do so. And that's all. So thank you very much, and if you have any questions, I'm open for you.